Hello everyone, my name is Rose. I'm passionate about what the gaming industry produces, and today I'm here to rave about an upcoming release. The Xbox Showcase was presented on the 9th of June, and its schedule for release were far better than anyone expected. We had release titles such as a new Fable, a new Gears of War prequel, Dragon Age trailer, Wu Chang, Perfect Dark, and a bunch of other surprisingly interesting and fun games. Definitely one of the best presentations we've had all year for the gaming industry. If you haven't watched it in full already, I'd highly recommend checking it out. However, one game caught my attention the most out of the standalone new games being announced, and that is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is the release we'll be discussing today. It's considered a highly ambitious debut title by Sandfall Games. From the trailer itself, we can identify key points of information. 1. It is set in a seemingly dark fantasy world, quickly showcasing a few mythical areas with a Lovecraftian feel to them. I do want to go into some depth because I adore this level design. We don't see much, but the atmosphere definitely feels established. Whether these have exploration potential or are just very linear will remain to be seen on release. We see forest areas, but with a jagged, twisted horizon covered in some form of mist and broken pieces of landmass scattered throughout. The next feels like it's underwater with destroyed structures around the character. Another with just twisting, rocky landscapes in an Eldritch-esque sky. The final notable area is one set in the snow, though this is only peeked at for a moment, but we can see more of the floating, eerie landscape surrounding it, which is pretty thematic from the rest of what we've seen. Second, the overarching lore is focused on a seemingly godlike entity called the Paintress, who once a year paints a number that appears to be counting down. We see it change from 34 to 33. This is significant as it seems to correspond with the people of the world's ages, where they inevitably disappear if they are at that age. This has extreme implications for the world. The Paintress is slowly wiping out humanity as each year passes, and we have no idea why. Third, we are the 33rd expedition from the number painted to venture forth in an attempt to stop the Paintress from continuing her horrifying actions. And this is clearly a dangerous task to undertake. The characters are seen to be met with terrifying creatures and monsters during their travels, where they will need to fight and defeat them to progress. Now, I personally found the world lore from this trailer to be very intriguing for a first look, and especially that for an original idea. I feel we have recently lacked any new original games with an interesting world lore and plot. However, time will tell if this does actually hold up to current expectations. Although I am intrigued by the lore, my actual main surprise was from the combat system that was demonstrated during the trailer. It's very rare to see gameplay in a first trailer too, and I was instantly blown away by the aesthetic and the action turn-based combat that seems very engaging. As someone who's been delving into more turn-based games recently, such as Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy X, Octopath Traveler, it's fantastic to see this system become more popular within modern gaming, and to be modernised as well. Let's break it down. We have on the upper left-hand side of the screen an action indicator, so which party members or enemies will be taking their turn, highlighted by the small arrow. We also see a menu appear, options for items, skills, and a basic attack. This quickly leads into a skill menu showcasing some characters' skills and which target you can select. Whilst this is very gorgeously presented, it's a general standard for how modern turn-based combat goes. This is similar to the likes of Persona 5, Persona 3, the very stylized, fantastic turn-based combat games, and similar to Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, with the menu system and selecting which skills to use, which target, etc. Except I do have some personal grievances over the new Yakuza game's combat system, but that's a video for another time. But for Expedition 33, it seems to take it a step further with its engagement. It shifts to reactive combat, similar to how quick time events would work in cutscenes with the games, except this takes place during the combat. This is demonstrated with having to press the X button multiple times. This instantly makes combat feel more involved and engaging for the player in my perspective. Another addition is the free aiming with what I'm assuming a sidearm or an additional ranged weapon. Their Twitter post stated that this is a free aim system which allows you to specifically target the weak points of your enemies, but this does also suggest you can miss completely, right? They've stated their goal for their combat is to blend the strategic depth of turn-based combat with the thrill of real-time action, with dodging, parrying, and the ability to counterattack in real time to turn the tide of battle. Despite the high fantasy world, there doesn't seem to be any indication of magic that the players can use. I'm unsure if this will be established, but the world setting suggests it would fit perfectly. Whether this is done via weapons, or attuning to items as a catalyst, or using magic via the free aim sidearm mechanic, I do think this would make sense. So far, though limited the gameplay during this trailer is, I feel like they've showcased this fantastically and communicated that to players. I truly do think these additions to their version of turn-based combat makes the experience so much more engaging, and will potentially revolutionize it within the RPG genre. This is especially so for older RPG and JRPG remakes where the replacement for real-time combat would feel just out of place. A few examples I can think of would be perhaps Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy IX, Chrono Trigger, Xenogears, etc., although some of these would also be fantastic for real-time combat too. This definitely feels inspired by Persona 5, especially with the addition of the sidearm firing, base attack skills, and the stylized turn-based combat, which I'm completely happy with as it is a fantastic game. This of course can be debated, but my comparison isn't out of any ill will to the dev team, just a way to more establish the form of combat for Expedition 33, and personally give a better understanding of it. My only concern in reality is the extremely impressive gameplay, world and graphics this game has to offer, and it's only been made by a team of around 30 people. This could be another scenario such as Baldur's Gate 3 where, regardless of the dev team size, they produce an absolutely excellent game that completely outshines AAA studios and lights another fire in the community to ask for better from these studios and their productions. Overall though, I am completely raving for this game. I'm very excited to see a more in-depth gameplay trailer along with how we'll venture through the world. If there's exploration elements to it, or if it's just quite linear, either way the gameplay looks fantastic, and hopefully will feel impactful for the player too. Once again, my name's Rose, I hope you enjoyed this video, and so far I will rave about Expedition 33. Thank you, take care.